Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 26 of the Cooler Guild. I am Coop, and joined with me, as always, is my co-host, Van.
Hello.
We are recording on Thursday, February 27th, 2025. Before we dive into today's episode, we want to remind people that
Cooler Guild is part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. You can either listen to us on our public feed, or if you're a Sounder at Heart subscriber, on the private unified feed with the other podcasts on the network. If you'd like to become a subscriber, just visit our page at sounderatheart.com/the Cooler Guild. New subscribers get 10% off the normal rate, and you'll help support everything we're doing.
we've got a very fun episode today for everybody.
Speaking of Sounder at Heart,
For today's episode, we'll be discussing all things Seattle Reign as the 2025 season is quickly approaching. And to help us, we are joined with a very special guest. You know her from her work with Ride of the Valkyries, Sounder at Heart, AP News. She's someone I have been a long-term reader of, whether it's match coverage, interviews with players, GMs, coaches, breaking team news. She's been a major contributor covering the Reign over the years. She's also the person that told us about the offer for us to join the Sounder at Heart podcast network. Please welcome to the show, Susie Rantz.
Thank you so much for having me on the best podcast name.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
I've just got this drink, but
Here, I'll try my dink. There you go.
Clink. Welcome, Susie. This has been a long time coming.
We've
Thank
wanted to
you.
do this for a long time.
Big fans of you both.
We're big fans of you.
Same, back at you.
We got a lot of Reign stuff to go over. We kind of wanted to focus. We usually kind of go over all over the WoSo world, but I think with Susie here, we're kind of hoping to stick to a bunch of Reign stuff and kind of give like a season preview and what we've seen so far with the preseason. And since we're a couple weeks out or so from the regular season starting, so I think maybe the first thing to go over, Coachella Invitational recap, all that stuff. Susie went.
I did. I went last weekend. It was 85 degrees, which was pretty wild. I know. But really fun to be there in person. The Reign really dominated against Angel City. Maddie Darlene put them up in the first half, and then they gave up an equalizer like the 87th, 86th minute when they had I think 6 rostered players on the field. So
yeah, I was whining about it. I was whining about it in the Discord. I was whining about it in the Discord, and Susie's like, keep in mind.
Was the Angel City's team were they playing most of their regular players?
They had rotated a lot by that point, but they did start. I don't think they had quite as many players on international duty as the Reign did.
Yeah. Seems like they're kind of going through a bit of a transition as well.
Yeah.
They didn't get the number 1 leading goal scorer in the league either. That's gone.
They sure didn't.
First game that they had for that Coachella Invitational was a 1-0 win over Bay FC. Did you get to see most of that match?
I did watch it. I streamed it. And I thought again, I actually thought the Reign had more chances against Angel City. I felt like that game could have easily been 3-1 for the Reign. And I felt like against Bay FC, the Reign controlled possession, had the better chances, but it did seem like that was more of a 1-0 game than the Angel City one. But still nice to see the team creating the tempo and not giving up a lot of goals, which we know was a big issue last year.
Yeah. I know with the first game, I remember reading the Reign recap on the website, and they were like, big save by Claudia Dickey in the 36th minute. So I went back and watched it, and it was like, oh, the shot was just straight at her.
It came right to her.
And that's the defense that you're highlighting. Yeah, that was a dominant game.
Yeah.
And Lynn got on the board too for that.
She did.
That was super encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just wasn't it she caught the rebound basically on that? I don't think.
It was. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the ball. Well, it was off a corner kick, and then there was a bad clearance out to, who was it?
It was Madison Curry.
Yeah, that's right, Curry, and Curry struck the ball, and it hit off Lynn, deflected off Lynn, and then hit off a defender, and Lynn was able to turn and put it in left-footed.
Which, hey, we haven't had the best of luck doing that last year, so.
No.
And I like the gumption of just whacking that ball into dangerous areas, especially when you've got somebody like Lynn up there that can control it and take advantage of it.
I was kind of upset to see her leave for the national team, but
I know it's always it is the FIFA break came at really an unfortunate time in the preseason where you want your team to have as much time together as possible. But
yeah,
nice. And I know they played a closed door friendly as well against Spokane Zephyr, and it sounded like Lynn had a goal and an assist in that game too. So she is firing already.
She's got that marriage. What do you want to call it? Like that. It's not a glow.
Like honeymoon glow or whatever.
I don't know, something. But
she's got in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, she's in the honeymoon phase.
I don't know. I feel like being around that man, like he's such a like happy person.
Yeah, he does
seem like a very
happy person.
I'm just like, I did really like the people have been calling her Biangolo.
Yeah, that's a good nickname.
Yeah,
I like it.
So you went to the Angel City game, and we kind of talked about that. Was like, are you feeling good? Because this wasn't, I would say, the normal lineup, but we're gonna have to be deep in our bench and all of that. Did you see that game and you were encouraged by what you saw? Because I would say when we looked at our depth last year, it wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like, she didn't get on the score sheet, but I also thought Emery Adamas had a really good game against Angel City. I think she had like 3 or 4 really solid shots that had to be saved. Like one was a free kick from like 20 something yards out that the keeper had to push over the bar.
She blasted that.
Yeah, that was like upper left corner. And she had a couple of really good looks that like were well taken, just didn't quite get around the goal. Angeline Anderson, I thought, had a good game. So I think like the young players that we didn't get to see perhaps enough of last year seem like they're, and the ones they brought in seem like they're really ready to be impact players. So I am leaving feeling really excited about the season.
Are there any players that like maybe we haven't, not just us, but in the media sphere that the team has brought in that we haven't really talked about enough, or that you think might make an impact this year, maybe from the bench? Or
yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about Maddie Darlene, but I think people have talked about her. You talked about her last episode.
I was gassing her up.
Yeah, her like instincts, and not only is she fast, which is already like a helpful skill that we haven't had much of, but her instinct pressing is really, really good. And I asked Laura Harvey after the game, like, is that something you really had to work with her on? And she's like, no, it's why we signed her. Like, she just like naturally knows when to go. And if she goes and it's not the right decision, she's so fast that she can correct it. So I'm just really excited about, I don't know if she's going to be like starting at the beginning, but to have that energy coming off the bench is probably pretty terrifying for other teams, and really excited to see what she can do.
Yeah, that's kind of how she created that goal in the second game. She's just pressing, running between players, pressing, and then was able to make that tackle and get the ball away.
And she almost scored in the first minute of the game that way too. So.
Yeah, she seemed like she got tired, but you said it was 85 degrees.
Yeah, I think it was only 80 at kickoff because it was at 12:30, but still
dry and hot, and she sounded like she was sprinting a lot. So I'm sure that gets you a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think still, despite that, in the 78th minute, she had another takeaway and found someone in the box who got a good shot off. So, but yeah, she did look like she was ready to come out by the end.
She's just a little eager, but that's fine. I like to hear that and see it.
So I'm really excited about her. I mean, people saw her last year, but I think Jordan Bugg looks like 10 times better than what we saw her last year already in preseason. And like her instincts and when she, like how she reads the forwards and their runs. I was only watching one game, I realized, in person, but like every time she made the right decision and every time she cut off the ball, and she's 18 years old and playing center back. So
I'd have no words. Like
whoever got on that with scouting her and getting her here, give them a raise, whoever did that. Cause that's going to be an acquisition that I think, maybe we'll get some millions of dollars. Maybe she'll be the first $2 million transfer.
I mean, she really does remind me a lot of Gurma.
Yeah.
So, which is
and it's like that calm confidence that she has.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time I see her, she gets better.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how? You were already really good. How is this happening?
And I think people may know, but so she grew up in San Diego, and she actually was training with the Wave the year prior as like a non-roster invitee. So not only did someone scout her and invite her to the Reign, but like they had to convince her that they were the right club and not San Diego. So good for the team for being able to do that.
I mean, this is kind of all shade, but this probably wasn't super hard to do with San Diego right now.
With the state of things right now.
Maybe San Diego like 2-3 years ago might have been nice and easy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you have any other takeaways from what you saw at Coachella?
Again, we saw her last year, but I'm really excited to see more of Nerelia Mondesir too. I thought she was really exciting in both of the preseason games that I got to watch. She can play attacking mid. She can play on the wing. She played center forward in the game against Angel City. And she's just one of those players that like makes runs or does things on the ball that are unexpected. And she does them really well. And she's really technical. And we got to see only a little bit of her last year. So I think she's really poised to have a lot more impact this year.
Yeah, and we didn't have a lot of players to support her.
No.
And that's
the other thing. Yeah. I think people may be sleeping on G, even though like people know G and her talent. But I think just because of the team overall last year, maybe they didn't appreciate G as much as they should coming into this season. So I'm excited to see what her with more speed, more players who can get into the final third around her can do.
You know who doesn't mince their words about how much they love G is Leanne Sanderson. Every game. People always talk about G. She's one of the best players out of Booster. She's so good.
She does like G and Jess Fishlock a lot, it seems like.
Oh yeah, she loves going on a Jess Fishlock like parade.
Yeah.
Jess Fishlock's #1 fan.
Yeah, I was really, it was really interesting to me in that first game, especially in the first half when they had the front three, but they were kind of switching at different points. The way the lineup had it, AMC was up top, but then Mondesir would pump in and AMC would drop. So it just felt a little bit more fluid than at least what I saw last year. And it could be that it's a preseason game and they're just trying stuff. But that was exciting to me to have players with the smarts and the fluidity to kind of just be where they needed to be.
Yeah. I think that's like a big thing about this roster in general. Like everyone on the back line pretty much can play anywhere on the back line. And a lot of people in the midfield can play anywhere in the midfield. And I think that it'll be really interesting to see like how they figure out who complements each other best when it comes to starting. But also, like you said, there's so much that allows for so much fluidity in runs and how they attack.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Heidema, because Heidema's also been gone. But I think it'll be interesting what happens with Heidema and Biondolo up top.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that happened last year was we didn't see a starting 11 consistently. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen this year, if we're actually trying to find a best 11, or if this team is really kind of just going to be, kind of rotating everybody. Because I can't tell at all. I feel like we just don't have any clue. But obviously, some people are going to have to be breaking in as starters, right?
I think that like historic successful Laura Harvey teams have had a lot more of a consistent starting lineup, and with like some rotation usually on the front line or something, like a little rotation weekly. So I would think that's probably like her vision of the ideal state, that there's not as much rotation as they have had in the last couple of years. And I feel like in 22 it was because of injuries. In 2023 it was also kind of injuries, and what year was last year? 2024. It was performance and injuries. So yeah, I'm not sure what we'll see, but I do think she would sure prefer a little more stability.
Yeah, I think my brain is just broken from like understanding what that could look like for the Reign.
Yeah, I know, because it feels like everyone could, like, at the moment, like Emily Mason looked great at right back in the opening game against Bay FC. I mean, after watching her do that, I would be confident starting her, but I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen.
I have to say something that might surprise people that listen to this podcast, but I thought Shea Holmes played really well.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. I thought she looked fantastic. She had a couple of really good crosses. And
she was getting in there, and she showed fast. A little bit of speed.
Yeah, she was fast.
She showed some speed. I agree. I thought she looked really good against Angel City.
She's been, I mean, I have to assume she's been working out really hard, because that's what it looked like to me, is like she's just like really upped her training.
Yeah, because I kind of initially would say I saw her more as a center back.
Yeah. That's what I thought too. But then I feel like they kept pushing her.
Yeah.
Making those runs up top. And I was just like, I don't know if she's keeping up with everybody, but she did look like she could now.
She really did. Yeah.
For how much they've been trying to tell us that that's what's going to happen. Maybe now I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not at all convinced, but I liked what I saw out of her. So there's some promising things.
I could talk a long time about all the exciting players, but I don't want to make this a 5-hour podcast. So
yeah, I mean it's still just preseason, so I mean we get quite the challenge for the first game of the season, although they have a lot of injuries. But with Gotham, it is obviously a bit of a rival, so I'm eager to see how that'll shake out.
I'm assuming Lynn's going to be pretty motivated for that game.
That is true. That didn't really click to me. That because she does love a little vengeance, right?
It's she's obviously been trying to be a real professional about the comments she's made.
Oh, but come on.
It's pretty clear. The writing's pretty clear.
She married a guy who was on Big Brother. And if there's anything I know about Big Brother, is that they love to just be in the depth of the drama and and stirring up some stuff. But
he also won Big Brother.
I know. You gotta
have
quite a personality to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Sounder at Heart Podcast Network, which now includes No Sarietes, Lobbing Scorchers, and the Cooler Guild. We've been independent since August of 2023, but need your support to make sure it continues. Although this podcast is free, it's only made possible by your continued support. Memberships start as low as $25 a year, which not only helps make podcasts like this one happen, but also gets you access to everything we produce. If you're able to support us at higher levels, starting at $75 a year, you gain access to a host of other perks, most notably entry into our members-only Discord, where the smartest, funniest, and most engaged commenters share their thoughts and ideas. To find out more, just visit sounderatheart.com and click the subscribe button in the top right corner. Thanks for listening.
I think we can probably wrap that up on Coachella talk. We've got, I think, a big thing that I heard you wanted to talk about this, Susie, with all the structural changes and leadership changes within the Reign, because there's a lot going on. Do you want to kind of give a brief overview of that and stuff?
Yeah. First, I think from what I've heard from Laura Harvey and Leslie Gallmore and the players, a thing that's been really obvious in this off season and then heading into this preseason is just how present the ownership group has been. And they've asked for players' opinions. They've been physically present at practice. And even though those might feel like small things, they go such a big way in just the culture and how supported the players are feeling. And Laura Harvey said it was night and day heading into this preseason, just in terms of feeling that support. And I heard, and again, this might sound really small, but as a staff, they all sat down and talked about collective goals for the year. And, when you work in an organization, you want to feel like you're part of this collective effort. And I don't think they've just had that level of resource to be able to do those things in the last couple of years. So it's I don't know what the dollar amount attached to the Sounders and Carlisle Group's investment is, but those things are really being felt. And I think those things can go a long way in the players just being able to focus on playing soccer. And then on top of that, the Sounders and Reign have made some structural changes to focus a lot more on intersections and collaboration between the two organizations, and then fan engagement and marketing, which I think people have felt on both sides, Sounder and Reign, could definitely use an improvement. So hiring for a bunch of positions, have hired some high-level people whose names I probably won't remember on this podcast, but who are really helping think about that, which, the Reign moving to so many different stadiums over the years, never really having a consistent identity. I think it's going to go a long way for like the future of the club, which is really cool.
Yeah, I do think just this is just a minor thing, but the gold little update to the crest, I feel like has helped the branding too. I feel like it feels more like the city than it used to, and kind of,
I agree.
I don't know what it is about it. Something so simple, but I'm feeling this brand identity a lot more, and they're like really honing in on it, I think, in a way that I didn't see before. And granted, it was the early days of the NWSL, and I don't think a lot of teams were leaning into their branding quite as much. But I am feeling and seeing that now with the club, even from a distance. And so I'm really excited to see what kind of the resources that the Sounders also have bringing into the Reign and kind of working together. Because it seems like they're going to be working together in a lot of stuff. They're not very far from each other now either.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, including myself, have had historic skepticism of an MLS club being the owner of an NWSL club. And that meaning that you'll be this like side thought and they'll think of you at times. And I still have that concern. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. But I have seen and heard a lot of really good things that makes me excited about what this will look like.
Yeah, I would say I am always skeptical as well. But if there's any team that I would trust in MLS to do it, it would be the Sounders.
Yeah.
So, I was hoping this would happen for a long time just because I trust the Sounders to do it. I knew if they were going to make that investment, they were serious about it. And so far, they seem to be doing exactly what I thought they would.
And I feel like I've seen an improvement. Like I've watched some of their stuff on Ryan Brown and her recovery. And just from what I've seen in the video, the resources, the equipment, and, the training and just kind of the back end support that the players are getting seems to have gotten to a new level.
Yeah. They hired a bunch of other like high performance, like they've built out the teams, like technical staff supporting them already, and are hiring a lot more, of course, on the like joint Sounders Reign side. So I think that investment's going to go a really long way. The Reign have done so much with so little historically. It's like almost a miracle that they have 3 NWSL shields because I mean their ownerships have been invested, and I don't want to say that they haven't, but like they haven't had the financial resources that the Sounders and Carlisle group now give them. And I think like thinking of it in the long term, who knows what it means for this year, but like it means a lot for the long term.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories about the early years from the FC Olympia sporting director who was an assistant for the Reign back in the early years, and just about like how just terrible Memorial Stadium was. And
it's amazing that the players feel so much nostalgia there because being in the press box of Memorial Stadium is an experience. Because you have to walk all the way up the stairs and you go out on this ledge that's like a World War II bunker.
Hell no. I'm not.
With,
I've seen
spiders.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. There's no way I would have gone up there. I'm afraid of heights. Spiders I can be okay with, but there's no way.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool vantage point. And then the press room is like attached to the like visiting team. Men's bathroom. And luckily there weren't a lot of like male coaching staff, so they didn't use it a lot, but every once in a while they would, and they'd come out into the press conference.
Awkward. That's super awkward. Speaking of changes with coaching staff, we got a new assistant coach for the Reign, Lee Wynn. He's kind of bopped around quite a bit. He seems like a good dude though, from everything I've heard about him. Have you heard much about him from the club?
He's only been officially with the team for a week. So I think just in terms of integration with the Reign, it's still pretty new.
He came down to Coachella Valley, didn't he?
He did. Yeah. He was there for the last game. I don't know about the first one, but
He's got a big resume, though.
He's got a big resume. From what I hear about like what he was like as a player, what was he like as a person, like nothing but positive things about him as a person. He's had assistant coaching experience at the Washington Spirit, Kansas City Current, and Angel City. And I think just kind of fell into unfortunate timing at some of those places with head coaching changes. So he has a good resume. This is an addition to their staff as an assistant coach. So now they've got a goalkeeper coach and 3 assistants, which is really lovely. I remember the days when it was just 1 assistant, 1 goalkeeper coach, and 1 head coach. So a lot of growth there. And I had a chance to ask Laura Harvey about her 1 week with Lee Win. And she said, so far, he's a fantastic addition. At least in the week that he had been there, like more of a like maybe quiet and observant personality. But you can tell like when he speaks, he has something very insightful and thoughtful to say. And so I think like a nice balance for that coaching staff.
He was a player too, right?
He was, yeah.
Big MLS guy.
Yep.
Maybe one of the more underrated MLS players too.
Yeah, I think like long-term MLS fans like have a ton of respect for him as a player. So
yeah, I was always a fan of his. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that he's making his way in the NWSL. What else do we got?
We got some sad news.
We do have some sad news.
Yes.
We're big. We're on the Latsko fan train over here. We've been hyping that up for a long time. Veronica Latsko officially confirmed that she tore her Achilles and is on season-ending injury list.
Technically ruptured.
Sorry. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I think in the moment, I don't know if you both like watched that game. In the moment, you could kind of tell, but we're waiting for better news, and unfortunately, it wasn't.
I mean, she's a tough cookie. The way she went down. She got carted off, right?
Yeah, and it took a long time to get her on the cart, and yeah.
That's going to be a big miss. We didn't have a lot of, I mean, maybe one upside to this is we didn't have a lot of roster space.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather have Latsko there because she can kind of fill a lot of roles. But I think that's going to be interesting what they do with her spot now.
Yeah. Yeah. They brought in some additional non-roster invitees, but also because they were missing 7 players for international duty. So it's a little unclear like who in that picture is truly competing for the spots, but it does give the team a little bit more flexibility, which like you said is the good news. But yeah, Latsko just seems like such a beloved teammate and like someone that pushes, like she goes, I hate when people say 110%. Because you can't physically be 110%, but if there were a thing above 100%, she would be like 200% in every training. Yeah. Just kind of person she is. So she gets some more time with her dogs, which I guess will be nice, but
I think she'd rather be playing.
I think she would rather be playing. Yeah. I heard she worked really hard this off season too.
Yeah. That's so unfortunate. Just a couple minutes after you get into your first preseason game.
Yeah.
But
she will always be a Reign legend. I'm sure she's going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Cheering for the team.
Better news. We got Olo.
We do. She's looked great in training. Got her first, well, I don't know if she got minutes against the Spokane Zephyr, but she didn't play in the first preseason game, but did against Angel City. So it was really nice to see her on the field.
Yeah, it's good to see her back after, her leave from the team, and just seems like she's enjoying it. Yeah,
and there's a lot of like open competition for that spot on the field at the moment. So
she got to step up her game too. Get back quickly to it.
Yeah.
Which is good to hear because last year was just such a fucking bummer, man.
Yeah,
such a bummer. So the fact that now we've got competition happening.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was going to be a thing.
I know. It seemed like last year we haven't had an overabundance of holding midfielders. And now when you're looking at the roster, you're like, wonder like who's going to take that spot right now.
Yeah,
so
Maze, I'm eager to see what happens with Meza too. That's another one I'm pretty excited about. I was pretty excited about her last year, but Everything was so bad. I guess they just didn't want to throw her in to make her look
Well,
worse.
she played well at Dallas.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk to her, and I had a chance to talk to Laura Harvey about her a few weeks ago. And, and like Laura says this over and over, every young player's path is different. And Sam Meza was very clear, like, she did not know what to expect coming into the pros.
Mm-hmm.
And she needed time to learn for herself what she needed to do every day to like be the best at training, take care of herself. And it just took her a little bit more time. And that time in Dallas, like having that like freedom to explore something different in Dallas and getting minutes and getting the time to like remember what makes her great in a pro environment was really important. So I think like loans can be a real risk sometimes with players, but in this case was just nothing but a great thing.
Yeah, I love that we have a coach that understands the human side of players as well as the technical game side, because it just seems that Laura Harvey really only wants the best for the players and for them to be their best soccer players, but as well as like best human beings. And so seeing Meza go off to Dallas and then really succeed made me really happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the jury's still out on how much that translates to the NWSL, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This will be a good experiment.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch for with not just her, but other players in the league who have been doing loans out there, or even maybe coming straight from there. I'm excited. I don't know. I think that's the path to pro is so it's still kind of new for the sport, right? Unless you kind of grew up with like U.S. Academy and all that stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of different people coming from different places over the next few years with these different leagues coming around.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Super League continues to evolve and how it goes. And like you said, like the NWSL for so long has been really hard to break into. So
and it's it's still kind of a newer league. I mean, it's been around, it's succeeding, but it is newer.
Yeah. So to give people chances to see like what a pro environment looks like, and so many more opportunities abroad now too, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This preseason episode of the Cooler Guild is brought to you by the Doctor's Office, a great little 12-seat bar on Capitol Hill. The owner is a big fan of the rain and is proud to be our first sponsor.
There's no better place to grab a drink and get ready for the new rain season than the Doctor's Office. Try the limited edition An Apple a Day, a lush sour apple vodka-based highball bolstered with kiwi and lemon lime soda. A refreshing, sour, and fruity drink to remind you that spring is just around the corner. The weather today also reminded you of that.
Yeah, it did.
In my tank top and shorts. Check out their Instagram at TDO Seattle, or better yet, go drink there in person.
Cheers.
Cheers. Clink.
Did you want to talk about the jersey?
We can talk about the jersey. We're going to go over something fun?
Let's talk about fun.
Let's talk about some fun. Some non-player related stuff. I mean, I guess it's player related because they're going to be the ones wearing it. But we got our official kit reveal for 2025 that replaces that weird gradient, whatever they want to call it. Everyone kind of had a gradient kit. So we got our away jersey, and it's called the quote-unquote Rise kit. It's pretty sharp looking, I think.
I really like it. Yeah, like fresh, like obviously not super bold, but I like it. And like you said about the gold, like leaning into the gold, even though it is a white jersey still, I'm excited about that ability with the
I almost wish they would have done some gold socks with it.
Me too.
It seems like they have
more gold.
Yeah, I think they have some gold on the top part, but I think they could have. I love when teams play with those color combinations with short socks and shirts.
Yeah.
So I would have liked that. But the shorts and the top look really good together. So and it seems like did we figure out if the inspiration was from the Space Needle?
I believe, because if you watch the like kit reveal video, they cut to like the steel on top of Lumen Field. There's like steel like slats and stuff, and the Space Needle a lot. And then there's one shot of the Great Wheel, so you can throw that in there if you want to also. But it really seemed like it was more Space Needle vibes than Lumen Field.
Yeah.
Prince.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I was on the Discord today after the reveal, and I'm like, what does this remind me of? What does this remind me of? And then I like sent the picture of the Space Needle, and then I got on the Slack channel, and Allie had already sent that like 3 minutes before I posted it in the Discord, and I was like, oh, we all get it. Okay.
It's kind of I was looking at the comparisons between the authentic and the replicas, and that texture on the authentics looks so nice with like basically any jersey that you lose a lot when you go to the replicas. But they're only offering the authentics in women's cuts, it sounds like. And I don't really wear those very often. Plus, it's an extra $100 just for that.
Yeah.
I'm not dishing that out. Maybe the team can send me something for free.
The apparent justification is like because the authentics are literally what the players are wearing. There's like no differences. They can only offer them on women's. I disagree, but
didn't Quinn? But
I'm not Nike.
Quinn
was wearing a different one last year.
Yeah, Quinn wore the regular cut.
Yeah, Quinn wore the more regular cut. Yeah, so I don't. This is just what I've heard through the grapevine.
I did notice because I watched Haidema's like day in the life of my media day with the new jersey that she did. I did notice when they were signing that authentic jersey, it didn't come out very well because of that texture.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Oh, the signatures, right?
Yeah, because of the texture, it was like kind of odd. So if you're buying a jersey to get it signed, maybe go with the replica.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with replica.
No,
$95 versus $195.
Especially, this one has like patterns and stuff. I can understand why people were a little bit more upset last year with the reflection jersey because it was kind of like a t-shirt in some aspects.
I did get the replica of that one, but it's a good like color. It's like just a dark blue, and then like
the colors are great.
The cuffs was nice, so like they did the right accents enough to make it, I think, okay and passable. It'll be interesting to see what they do next year with the new home jersey now that they actually have their identity.
And I have heard like jerseys take like 2 years, so like people had often. I mean, I think you can make some quicker decisions, but I think like now that the ownership are more steadily in place, I'm more optimistic that they'll like keep being able to.
I mean, you could see the like little remnants still of OL and even the training kits last year.
Yeah. The little like red I was like, at the top and on the sides. Yeah.
I was like, now we're fully got the full colors at least now.
Yeah.
With the
and their red training tops.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, last year too, like I remember when the jerseys came out because we were like, these could be really bad because they had no time to adjust this, and then they were fine.
It's a clean look. The colors are so good that like
my understanding is last year that was pretty much actually what they were planning to do when they were still OL.
Oh shit.
And they just got lucky in making the decision that it was like really easy to switch. There was apparently going to be a little bit more texture on like on the jersey. I don't know if you remember the graphics that they did when they were OL Reign, and they'd have like little like stripes across. I'm making a motion, but nobody can see it. But like I don't know, like tiger stripes or something.
Oh yeah.
And it was going to kind of have that in the background, but they just got rid of that.
I think we had a jersey. We had that blue one, that one blue with the red.
Yeah.
It was like that. Yeah, that kind of
exactly.
Okay.
It was going to be like a subtle, much more subtle version of that. But so well done. They got very lucky.
It's also
that's what I've heard.
Some people rated that their best, the best jersey of the year too, which is hilarious because I don't think anyone knew that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that, and I'm pretty on top of things for the
breaking
news. We're here. You hear it first.
And we seem to still not have a jersey sponsor in place yet.
Correct.
Do you have any?
Yeah, which actually I'm happy about.
Coop
only because it means that they're like not just translating the Sounders one to theirs.
Yep, that's
because I will admit I was super nervous about that, and I was like, do you know the audience of the Reign? I hope you do.
Yeah, there was backlash with the Sounders, but imagine with the Reign.
Yeah. And so it seems like they're thinking more about that.
Which for these jersey sales, I saw that they're still donating
Mhm.
minimum $10,000
Mhm.
to the Black Future Co-op Fund. Is that the right
Yep.
order of words? Okay.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Even though they're not on there, they're still working with them.
Yeah.
I have no idea who they would even be looking at for sponsors, but
I know it's a kind of a fun. Well, as we determined in the Discord, it's Taco Time Northwest, but
specifically Northwest.
yeah.
Somebody,
Northwest West.
Lickett did a like a mock-up of the jersey.
I've done I've done a few of
it
those
looks
as well.
gorgeous.
It looked so good, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Is this real, or did I just become a
Yeah.
boomer?"
I used to do that with the Sounders when they found out Zulily got dropped or whenever that happened, and I was like, "Oh, it's time for Taco Time."
Yes.
Northwest.
It also it would look really good on a shirt. I don't know
It
what
would.
kind of financials Taco Time's working with, but I'm sure that the Carlisle group wants a big payday for that front jersey sponsor. That
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's going to be something like Taco Time. Maybe if they're smart, they'll do it.
Imagine if we scored 3 goals and you could get a crisp burrito.
Oh,
They would have to sponsor us.
I wasn't sure what was going to happen around the sponsor on the reveal, and I think taking time to get it right for the club. And they also kind of announced the Reigns version of the Rave Foundation and its commitments with their Rise campaign, and I like that they're allowing the Reign to do community outreach in the Reign's own way, even if there's overlap and similarities. So that was exciting to see today also.
Yeah, I think their goals are similar, but the outline for how to go about it and who they want to reach out to is different groups. So I appreciate the individuality with that, because it allows for more flexibility, to work with like the group that they did with the gender nonconforming kids, and they did they did that with the Sounders, but the Reign leans a little bit more into that side. So it's
Yeah.
You want to pop into questions?
Since we have Susie here, we wanted to utilize Susie's interest.
My weird brain.
Weird brain. I don't think it's weird. We have a podcast about the rain.
Collective weird brains.
Yeah. I don't know. Your insight, it's an interest, right? It's a hobby for at least me. It's just an intense hobby. We kind of went over this on another episode, but something I wanted to ask you is like, who is 1 or 2 players that you're most hyped for this season?
Okay. Jordan Bug. I need a Jordan Bug nickname, so I am taking nominations because I just think she's so special. We haven't talked about Madison Curry yet. I'm gonna add Madison Curry to my hype list.
Great.
She had some awesome cross-field passes against Angel City, and the fact that she can play everywhere and was such a hidden gem with Angel City, drafted in the 4th round and was so good, and she gets stuck in on tackles. She wins her duels. I'm just super hyped about her being an addition on the back line.
I love that. Do you think it helped that she was played against Angel City to look really good?
Maybe. I thought she looked good against Bay FC too, though.
Yeah, she looked great in that game. And when we did the episode before that, I pointed her out as somebody that.
I mean, Angel City fans seemed really pissed about it. They were like, how do we let this go?
Yeah,
they all those Disney buccos, but it can't save what's happening there. So, well, again, I think we're opportunists when it comes to our acquiring players. We're very much. I don't see other teams just kind of sneak in and get these players quite like the Reign does. It's the Laura Harvey effect, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I think it's kind of fun because you never know what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to go a little bit deeper to understand what went into Madison Curry's decision, because it seemed like she was really poised to continue to get time at Angel City, and I don't know, maybe it was a little mess down there. Who knows? Coaching, turnover, that kind of stuff.
I don't think the vibes are great at Angel City.
Yeah,
no, they're not. So it kind of leading into, or in addition to that question, so if the Reign were to sign another player, who or what type of player do you think would be most beneficial to the team with the roster that we're currently looking at?
Oh, it's such a good question. I'm a sucker for like a holding midfielder that's just like get stuck in. And I was actually like really excited for Jalen Howell, and I understand why the decision was made to make the trade because we got Linby and Dolo. So I'm like, in the like grand scheme of it, I am not sad at all. But it was like that kind of player I just think is really fun and the team could really, really use. But I am not convinced that they don't have those. Like, I think the Reign have options that can still be really good in the holding midfield role. So I'm more just like wanting to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never be sad. I mean, we have Lynn, so I'm not, so I feel like we did fill this hole, but I'm never going to be sad to like sign someone who just like freaking scores goals. Like who, like a Sophia Smith, now Sophia Wilson, that just like can create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate one of those players too.
She hasn't shown up for camp yet, has she?
She hasn't.
Interesting.
We didn't talk about that, but Portland just announced 3 season-ending injuries from preseason, so
it's crazy.
we could be that, and we are not.
I think Portland's gonna. This is setting up to be Portland's maybe worst season through no fault of theirs.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one for them.
But it is.
I don't know anything about Sophia Wilson's situation, but I'm not sure she's gonna play this year.
Wow.
I don't know, but like. So,
Guess we'll see.
More to come on that, I guess.
There's always so much just like there's so many reasons that players in the NWSL don't show up for stuff.
Yeah. So it's hard to know what reason.
And you don't want to speculate, but in the back of my minds, we're all speculating.
Yeah. Without someone saying something, and in these situations, it usually means it's like up to the player to tell people. Which is fair and the right thing.
Yeah. That's what it seemed like with the Morgan Weaver situation. She, I guess, overworked last year and came back from a meniscus injury and just didn't get the recovery that she needed. So now it's
a bummer.
That's the problem with coming back too soon.
Yeah. While I know it's frustrating for people, I feel like the Reign have always been extremely cautious with injuries. And that is the right approach.
Yeah. Especially for longevity.
I mean, look at Roosevelt too.
Yeah. I mean, you're out an extra 6 months. Okay. Well, that stops you from having to be out a whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about like the Mesa and the Gallimore interview. Those are pretty in-depth features that you've done. How do interviews like that help you gain a better picture of the person you're interviewing, as well as like the organization around them supporting them? And are there any highlights from those interviews that maybe didn't make the articles or that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I think one thing that is really great, and when I have the time to be able to do these like more in-depth pieces, is like getting to see how other people talk about the player is really cool. And so like a couple of years when she was the first player to hit 200 caps, I did one on Lauren Barnes, and like just to hear how much her teammates adore and look up to her, and talk about her as like she's an extra coach on the field, like just these like insights that maybe you don't get in post-game interviews about a player. It is super rewarding. And so and just get to know their personalities a little bit better. You can kind of guess based on how they are on the field or in training. And one thing I will say, though, I think a lot about is it's their story that I'm telling, and I want to like do it as authentically as possible. And I spend a lot of time worrying about that. I'll be honest with you, of just like, did I represent this person well?
Yeah.
Did I represent them the way that they think they are? So I spend just a ton of time worrying about that after I hit publish.
That's fair.
It must have been really reassuring to you after the Mesa story that she was so into it.
Yeah. So that was nice. And I hope I do well for other players too. But I think, the thing that I love most is just getting to hear both how they reflect on themselves, but also just hearing how other people talk about them. And I did the same before the World Cup with Alana Cook, which was a horrible thing for me to do because then she didn't play in the World Cup. But but like getting to hear her teammates talk about her, because she is a more quiet personality, like on the field and like in practice, but then also like one of the kind of people who I love, who's like ruthless in the group chat, because they're actually like so funny, but they just don't say a lot. So those are like all the fun little nuggets that you get to hear.
I love that.
And it does like take a lot more time, I think, than people think. You have to like reach out to the team, find a time that works for everybody, come up with the questions. Often they want you to be at training, which when you have a job is really hard to do. And then spend time. You get, you could get 5,000 words just with the quotes that you get. So then figuring out how to condense it into a story. And so that's a little of the behind the scenes magic, if people are curious about that.
What's your favorite interview you've ever done with a Reign player? Is there one that...
Actually, yes. And it's like a kind of maybe like a surprising one. Because like Megan Rapinoe, she's always fantastic. And she's just as like awesome and genuine in like a one-on-one as she is in any press conference setting. But that's not who I'm going to say. Jacob and I, we used to do a podcast together where we just started like interviewing players.
We loved that.
Thank you. And we interviewed together Michelle Betos and Jasmine Spencer. And it was they're just so good together. And like just such wonderful people. And Jasmine Spencer's energy is just amazing. Michelle Betos is like one of the coolest humans. So you guys both reacted as if you think that is a good answer.
Did you listen to our last episode? Or like
when you said you wanted Betos back?
Yes. I was pulling for that for like
I said she was my dream interview. Yeah, like one of our bonus episodes.
We should get her on your podcast.
I think it might have been our winter bonus episode that we did.
Okay, I do remember you saying that.
Yeah. So,
she is as good as you imagine to speak.
Because I was like, because she has so much, especially now that she's been with so many other teams. I think she'd be super interesting to talk to, and I'm sure she's got great stories. But that's hilarious.
Both of them just like the same genuine kind of personality that you imagine. Yeah. It was very real and real.
We also talked about Jasmine Spencer on the last episode too.
Yeah, we did
because she's going to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those who are obviously we don't have the video, but like when Susie said Michelle Betos, Van and I both threw our arms up.
I love her. I've always liked her as a player, and she seemed like a fun human.
Yeah. Since like the first season, we were like on the Betos hype train.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time since you've got somewhere to drive to, so we can kind of maybe wrap this up. We should do this again, is what I'm thinking, some other time.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about our first official match of the season is coming up. It'll be here before you know it. And we've actually got a Saturday night match for that. We don't have...
Yes, finally.
I don't know how many Saturday night matches we have in the season. So if you want to enjoy a Saturday night match, go to the opener March 15th at Lumen Field versus Gotham FC.
Coop and I will be there.
Coop and I. I'm Coop. Van and I are going. Van's getting her she's going to have to pick up her press pass for the first time, her media pass.
Yay!
I don't even know where to go. I'm going to have to text you, Susie.
I will help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be sitting in the stands, but Van will be in the box at some point. But I'm really excited for the season to kick off. I think there's no doubt that the season's going to be better than last year's. Do you have any thoughts on that, Susie?
Yes, I will say though, do not ask me to make a prediction. I hate it when people do that. So
I won't ask.
I'm not going to tell you where they're going to finish.
Okay. Better or worse than last year?
Better. Okay. I will say that.
What about playoff chances?
I think so.
Okay.
I thought so last year, just because like historically their defense has been so strong that I thought like even if it was a 1-0 game, they would win it, and that did not happen.
Yeah.
So
I bet a lot of beers on us making the playoffs last year.
I know 8 teams made the playoffs. Like it's not that hard.
No,
that was my thought, but it was
really hard for us.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong. So
yeah.
No, I'm just like, I think you alluded to it, and I'm not sure if I've even said it in an article yet, but they like have 13 or something players that were not with them at the start of last season that are on this roster, but some joined in midseason and the others have had like a full preseason. Last year we didn't have our internationals when they went to Costa Rica, and it was like even a hard start to the year, and they've got so much more time together, and people should just be excited about that fact alone.
Yeah, I made a list. I don't know if I covered every single player, but new players on the team that weren't on the roster at the beginning of last season. Hannah Glass, Norelia Montesir, Jordan Bugg, Anna Maria Sortogorchevich, Ainsley McCammon, Madison Curry, Cassie Miller, Lynn Biondolo, Emily Mason, and Maddie Darlene. That's a list.
10. I was.
It might be more. That's but the best.
No,
I
think
could find.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of new players.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And
a
more
lot
to come, more to be signed, because they need another goalkeeper. They've got a couple of spots open. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they gotta do something about missing Lasco now.
Yes.
So. I'm excited.
I'm stoked.
This season. I feel good, which is maybe a mistake, but I don't think it is this time. I think it'll be fine.
No, especially this early in the season, you should feel good.
But also there's not a lot of players, but there's a lot that's been changing in the league, and I think the quality is getting better everywhere. And I think that's true for us. And I like that we're also kind of getting to see more young players, kind of everywhere else, not just a couple of teams. And I'm hoping that gives younger players confidence to, I don't know, be the breakout player that we need. Because we're really betting on that, it seems like this year, at least in some places.
Yep. Someone young's going to have to step up. That's for sure.
I think if I'm picking one breakout for this season, I mean, I picked Darlene for a new player, but I do think, we're going to get some good stuff from,
who are you thinking of?
What is score? I don't. My head. Of course, like when I need to think, it doesn't happen. Emery Adames. Adames, I think, is going to have a great year. I think Adames is going to have a really, really great year. She had moments last year where she looked so good. Everything in the preseason looks great, and I think she's going to be starting a lot more too. Not getting just those like dead minutes at the end.
I mean, she scored a goal in front of Megan Rapinoe and did the Rapinoe celebration. Scored a banger in front of Rapinoe. Did the Rapinoe celebration. She is going to try for the rest of her life to get back to that moment, and I'm excited for that.
Do you got anything else you want to go over?
I'm a Jordan Bugg stan, so I'm looking forward to watching her grow. She's 18. She's gonna really start to be able to define herself as a player, and I think people are going to start to notice her a lot more.
This is just going to become like a Jordan Bugg podcast. Seems like.
Get ready for it, everyone.
Yeah. You join the Jordan Bugg Guild. Susie, do you got anything you want to plug or anything?
No, I hope people will keep listening to you all, reading our Ride of the Valkyries content, because women's soccer is awesome.
It is. Yeah. It is. We love it. We have fun with it, and we hope everyone else does too.
And Ride of the Valkyries is such an amazing resource for, women's soccer content for the Reign and beyond. And I think it's we don't realize that a lot of places don't have a resource like that. And so enjoy it, use it, subscribe to it, click open the emails.
Ask us questions. As you can tell, we love to talk about it. So I think sometimes people who maybe don't follow the Reign day to day are like scared to jump into our Discord channel or ask questions. And we are not gatekeepers here. We want everyone to feel welcome.
Yeah, like somebody asked a question today in the Discord about like the sizing with the jerseys.
Yeah.
And like seemed a little hesitant about it. And you gave them so much information. And I was just like, yes, this is there's no stupid questions.
No, none at all.
This is a place for resources and collaboration and talking.
Don't ask if they should be paid equally, but you can ask every other question.
That's fair.
We're just
don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. You can nerd out with us, but just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We're just a bunch of nerds.
Yes.
Cool. Well, stay tuned for more, I guess. You got any shout outs this week, Van?
Shout out Susie. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for coming on. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
Wish we had you on for longer, but this also makes my editing easier later, so appreciate that. And remember, you can always go follow us on Bluesky, Instagram at Cooler Guild Pod. You can also send us an email.
We love an email.
The coolerguild@gmail.com. Till next time, I'm Coop.
I'm Van. You can find us on our main website, sounderheart.com/Cooler Guild.
Bye.
Bye.
Mama. Hi, Mama. Aurora Green.